everyone, and welcome back to the Let's Get Ready Network. I'm Adelia. I'm here with Justin and Brandi. We just watched the first two episodes of Agatha All Along, the newest MCU series on Disney Plus. I quite enjoyed them. Let's find out what everybody else thought. Brandi, let's start with you. What did you think?
Oh, I loved it. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. At first, I was like confused, and I was like, "How
Yeah,
is this gonna go? Like, what is this?" And then the more picked up, and then we saw and we understood what was happening, and then we're on this road now, and I can't wait to go down this road like the Wizard of Oz. He's on down the road.
yeah. All right, Justin, what did you think?
I was not very excited for this show. I'm still not like
Mhm.
super excited or whatever, but it's like I told you before we started doing this one that if I watch the first couple episodes and don't really dig it, I was gonna bounce. It's gonna be my only review. Uh, but I think the first two episodes is good enough for me to keep watching. Like, to be honest with you, I didn't see anything bad. The only thing that, and this is just because of so many times Disney doing this, no matter what it is, whether it's Star Wars or even the MCU stuff. My biggest thing is like this was 2 episodes. I think we're getting what, 8 again.
It's 9, actually.
So we get one extra episode, so maybe that helps it out a little bit with the time. And it's just being worried because it did take them 2 complete full episodes to like get to the point that we just got. And to me, that should have been my whole thing is like stop trying to cut it up to make more episodes. If you've only got enough for like say 4-hour long episodes, if it flows better, just do it. Because I really do think these 2 episodes, which was smart to release them at the same time because it felt like it was one episode, but it should have just been one episode. They should have just had one because I think the first one was like 41 minutes, but you got to take credits out. So it would have been around 30. The next one was around the same amount of time. Just make one episode. And if it happens to be a 4-episode like thing, then let's just let it be a 4-episode thing. Stop trying to cut it up. Because I will say that first part of the episode, or the first episode we watched, wasn't all that great. It was okay, but I think like these 2 together made that first one a little bit better and easier to take down. But think about this: if they would have dropped just that first episode that they cut,
Yeah.
it would have been like, what the hell? Like, what was you stopping there for? We should have got to another place. Now, at the end of episode 2, I felt like it ended on a good spot for a show. And I think that's one of the biggest things like I've had to complain about is like Disney not knowing how to make shows. Like, go and watch like Max and anything that Max does. They've been doing it for years, which is unfair, right? So it's like unfairly to judge them based on that to a certain point. But Max knows how to make shows. Like that's what they do. That's their bread and butter. They've been doing it and been knocking it out of the park for years. But that would be my only thing. Like I said, though, the 2 episodes I was interested enough in to keep watching with you guys.
All right. Good to know. That first episode I agree with. If they had just dropped that one episode, I would have been like, okay, we have taken way too long to get Agatha back to being Agatha. And the whole TV thing at the beginning, I didn't know what was happening at first when they were rolling the characters' names as though they were the credits. But then when it said it was based on the Danish series WandaVision, but not spelled right, I was like, oh, okay, they're still continuing the TV trope. I'm glad that that's done now, though. We don't need the TV trope in every episode like it was in WandaVision.
Yeah.
But I thought that it took them a long time in that first episode to get to the point where we were back with Agatha, and then it's like, because like that's not the story. The story's not Agatha getting back to herself. It's that needed to happen quickly so we can move on to the story of the series. And I'm glad that they dropped the second episode so that we can move on to the story of the series. I really like Teen. Whatever his name is, actually, we don't know because every time he says it, his mouth gets all distorted and stuff, and Agatha can't hear him.
She
Which I
can't
think is
hear him
very
explain
interesting.
his life either, like when he was
Yeah,
explaining him.
she couldn't hear him when he was explaining his life either, so that's got me really curious about him and who he is. Um, I love Patti LuPone is a goddess,
Oh my
and she's gonna
god.
be so good in this as Lilia.
So much. I love her.
I cannot wait for more Patti LuPone. Aubrey Plaza as well is one of my faves, and she's incredible in the episode that she was in already. Um, I like that Aubrey Plaza's like playing the antagonistic witch to this group that's on the the Witches Road. The Salem 7, which is who I assume we saw there at the end attacking the house while they were getting the Witches Road open. They look freaky as hell. I
Oh.
don't like them.
I did not like them either. I was like,
Did not
run,
like
They're
boy,
my
them.
run!
faves.
Why are you still sitting
Yeah.
up there? Get downstairs now!
They
Yeah.
were my faves.
Oh, I don't doubt that, Justin. I don't doubt that at
I
all.
wanted them to kill everybody. You know, like if they would
They
have just
kill
took them
everybody.
out,
We didn't have a show.
There's no show.
it would have been basically a good short movie.
No,
It would have been a good short
no,
movie.
Justin.
I would have
no.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Listen, man,
No.
they look. I will say this: there was a couple of things that did happen as well, like during this 2 episodes, that I give Disney a little bit of props for because I would not have expected it before I watched the show. There was a couple of curse words or what have you in it. Now,
naked butt.
yeah. Look, they blurred it out a little bit, like especially her coming from the front.
Yeah,
Whenever
of
she comes
course.
out the
They
house.
weren't gonna
But
show.
There
frontal.
was a crappy CGI job there because you could see that she was wearing like really long, like you would almost say like granny panty style thing that you could actually see she was wearing something to cover the front, not just them blurring it out, which is whatever. We
Yeah.
all know that's what's happening. She's
Yeah,
not standing there really naked. But I'm just saying they just didn't cut it out good enough. I just happened to notice that or whatever because I couldn't believe. I was shocked. I was staring at her. I wouldn't even have been looking that hard, but it's because it's Disney. I was like, what the hell? Is there a naked person walking out of the house?
There was a naked person, a naked Catherine Hahn. Yeah.
Like, I'll give them props. It looks like maybe they're embracing the fact that they can do some adult content on Disney.
Know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Alanis Morissette's music videos.
Exactly.
That's what it was. Because you could kind of see her, the long hair, the blurry like thing. Yeah, it just all that just reminded me of Alanis Morissette's music video. That's what I had in my head when I was like, oh my god.
But no, like I said, I'm giving them props because like that's unexpected from Disney Plus. I do think they need to change some of their things. You can't just cater to one crowd when you're doing a streaming service. So like being able to do more adult style content for adults and all that is I give them props for that. Like I don't think anything was particularly, like I was talking about the stuff earlier, but I don't think anything particularly was wrong with the show. I thought the people that are playing in it was done well, and so far I don't see any major writing flaws or anything like that. It's supposed to be quirky. That's about the character.
Yeah.
And I just don't know like how many people's going to jump on board and watch and everything. Because it's leading into this. This is not a character I care about.
Yeah,
like, she's funny. She was cool to she was cool to be in WandaVision. She was like a cool little addition, and everybody loved her. Like it was Agatha all along bit and stuff like that. And it fit into that show with another major character. But Agatha, like, I actually am cool with like the history and stuff for the Salem witch trial. So like I would almost hope that this would like go into that really hardcore, but I don't think it is. Like I think that coven that was coming after him was what was called like the Salem 7 or whatever. So that's who's coming after her, which is kind of cool and kind of piques my interest a little bit because I love the history of that and everything. I like even the little joke. Now, I will say, while we watched it, I heard you girls laughing a lot. I didn't. But one spot that I would have laughed at, or at least I smiled at while I was watching, was whenever she does the whole like little joke about the Salem, like the real life Salem witch trials. And the one girl was like, oh, you'll get hanged or drowned. And then I kind of laughed at that because she was like, what? There's not anything else. They still that's the only things. Yeah, there's nothing new. Like I kind of laughed at that because that was a good play on like the history and stuff. So I enjoyed that, and I thought that was kind of funny. But I did find myself like, you know, doing the whole giggling or laughing way less than you girls. But I get it. It's that kind of humor and stuff like that.
We like humor.
Well, no, this is kind of humor that you guys are going to like more than me.
It's going to hit people differently. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be like you girls are going to like that kind of humor more than I am. Right, there was a lot of like humor in there. Some of it just to how like
we got.
What's that?
Stuff that we got.
Yeah, like the stuff in the show. I would say like fits your humor style more than mine, so I'm not gonna laugh at it as much. But I thought like I said, I thought the story was kind of cool. Like I just don't know what they're gonna do. Like from here.
So I loved it. So the start of it, I was iffy about, but then when she come out and they're like, when the kid did the whatever spell he did to break her out of there, and then they got her in the morgue, and then there's pictures, but it's pictures of the garden, and so all of her neighbors were just playing along, and then when she came out and she's like, how long have I been doing this? And they're like, 3 years. And she's like, what? Like 3 years. So that's how long it's been. So, and then she's herself, and she's like, okay, well, I need to do this now. Like, I need to be this person. And Aubrey and her character were fighting, and she's like, you don't have any power. Like, you can't fight me. And how does it feel to feel pain? Because she hasn't felt pain in a while.
Yeah. I did like when she was fighting Aubrey, she was like, don't you want me at my best when you kill me? Don't you want me formidable when you kill me? Like, I love that. I love that so much.
I loved it too. And then we got to see, and now the second episode moved in, and we saw, she was like, oh, wait. When she had the kid in the closet, that was the first episode at the end. And she's like, well, it was kidnapping instead of putting them into a cell. So we kind of played a little bit on that. And so the kid finally got out, and he's like, wait, I'm a witch. I know all this stuff. He knows about her. He read all up about her, and he wants to be, power. He wants power. He knows all the other things. She goes, well, you did break the spell of Wanda. So, you're pretty good enough to do this. So the kid's going along with her on this road.
He's obviously something else. And we'll see what that'll be.
Yeah, obviously, because she can't hear what he said. Yeah. She can't hear his name. She can't hear his background. So he's obviously somebody that is
somebody put a spell on his ass where she can't understand him or hear him.
We don't know who he is yet, though. Like, so it's probably somebody that you would probably afterwards. Adelia will probably be like, "Oh, that's who that is."
My thought while we were watching it is that he's one of Wanda's kids.
I do think it's an interesting way to keep like a mystery going, because and it might be that he doesn't even know he's got the spell, because if you notice, or maybe he knows the spell, maybe he may even know the spell's there, and that's why he feels so comfortable just acting normal, because she can't hear it, or somebody put the spell on him, he doesn't even know it, so he's like actually trying to answer her. So with that being said, though, he might not be something that's like super important, because it might, the more of the mystery is going to be like who actually put the spell on him, if that's the case. I will say, I don't know what it is. I'm not loving him as an actor yet. It's not bad. It's not bad. I don't think it's terrible. It doesn't take me out of the show completely, but he's kind of borderline to me. I do think as far as the acting and stuff so far,
he's a 16-year-old boy. So imagine Eli going through something like he does act like a teenager. Just
like I said, I'm not saying it's terrible.
I think he's doing fine. I think he's doing fine as an actor in that show. I think he's wonderful.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed his performance so far.
What I'm really excited about, though, is Patti LuPone, but Deborah Jo Rupp. Okay. I love Deborah Jo Rupp so much. And I'm she is in this coven that she didn't know what she was doing. Let me grab my purse. She still has her purse on the road. She's just going along oh, they're doing this. Okay, let me take my shoes off too. Oh, we're singing? Am I supposed to know this song? That's what she said. Am I supposed to know this? And she just started singing along whenever she heard some of the riffs. She just went along with it.
Okay. Here's one of the reasons why I think that the teen, as we know him at the moment, because that's what Agatha keeps calling him, is one of Wanda's kids. It has the look of one of Wanda's kids from the way that they were portrayed in WandaVision. One of Wanda's sons, Billy, is one of the first gay characters in the MCU. We saw him getting a call from his boyfriend. Yeah, that's where my mind went immediately. This is how they're introducing Wanda's kids for the Young Avengers stuff they want to do, because they kind of have to do that for that. So that's why I immediately went, okay, he's one of the twins. I didn't remember which one it is, but I just looked it up. It's Billy is the one with the boyfriend. Boyfriend also a superhero, the shape-shifting Hulkling. So it's possible this is how they're bringing them in. which I'd be totally fine with because I think it would make sense to tie Wanda into this somehow without Wanda having to be there.
Yeah,
I wasn't even paying attention to if the character, like you brought that up, like with being gay and stuff. Like I wasn't even paying attention to that. So I actually will give them props. It's one of the first things I've seen in a little bit that didn't try to like push that, and that's all they talk about. Like I didn't even know that was going on. And like I said, I've always said, like, as long as it's natural, it doesn't feel forced. So like if he's like going to be doing that in the show, like I'm perfectly fine with it now because it doesn't seem like it'll be forced. It'll be something that's just like part of his character because that's not what they drove home like repeatedly or anything. They didn't shove it in your face.
Make it
feels
the
more
central
natural.
point of his character.
Exactly. That's like one of my biggest problems is because I don't care what anybody's doing in that bedroom. I just care about their character being good. And so far, like I said, even though I'm like iffy on the actor so far, I didn't think he did like a bad job. I mean, I just don't think, like, to me, he was the weakest out of what we got. And maybe that's a little unfair because we've got some like actually great like trained actresses like in there that he's working with right now to have to go up against. So maybe that's why he seems like he's the weaker one, because all the actresses in the show are all like people that's done a bunch of things. I mean, I love Aubrey Plaza just from like Parks and Rec. I mean, and to be honest with you, she's basically playing her character from Parks and Rec because she was kind of like the dark comedy like person in that whole like show. If anybody's ever watched it,
a little different, but yeah,
little different.
I watched Parks and Rec,
but no, she was like dark and humorous, like that kind of way, like where she was being serious. She you could see some of that in her character here that she does, like the super serious, like, but also throwing in these little intricacies like you could kind of giggle or laugh at a little bit. But I thought she did great. Like one of y'all brought her up earlier. And but yeah, so she's definitely going to be coming back. She licked that woman's hand. And yeah, that, but like I said, it's not bad. I just think he's the weakest. But like that's kind of like when we watch Rings of Power and me talking about the story for the Harfoots and the Wizard. Like, I don't think it's terrible. I don't see it and go, oh God, not them again. But it is kind of like, well, I can almost check out at this moment because I'm not as interested in that part of the story. So it kind of like sort of like that. But like I said, not bad. And that character could grow on me. But like what you just brought up, I didn't even know. I wasn't even paying attention to. I wasn't even like looking at that kind of thing. But now that you bring it up and stuff, I think it's going to be perfectly fine. Like no matter what his character is, because my biggest thing, just do a character. And as far as character goes in writing, one of the things I'm giving it props for so far is like, there's nothing that I'm noticing, right? I'm not even going to bring up the name again, but one show we watched here recently, obvious stuff. There's no obvious things here. Of course, there's always going to be something that you could nitpick in a story or a plot.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I actually think the story and plot's fine here. Like I said, I kind of like the feel of it too. Because like I'm wearing a Halloween hat right now. It's like my favorite time of year.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good time for them to have placed this. It's a good placement for the show.
Yeah.
And like I said, I mean, I kind of want to repeat it just because to me it was important. I did tell Adelia, hey, I'm watching the first 2 episodes with you guys. I'll join the review. But if I'm not enjoying it at all, I'm not going to be a party pooper. We got other shows coming up, and this wasn't a show I was excited for anyway. But I'm sticking around at least for another episode or 2 because I literally thought they did a decent job with the story. I do think it was moving around kind of slow, which, man, it just drives me crazy because we only can have 9 episodes or we can only have this many episodes. And it did move kind of slow in these 2 episodes, which would be fine if you had more episodes. But it's also according on when we get to the meat, the next couple episodes, like how intricate is the story going to be? If it's a simple story, then we may only need 9 episodes, right? Like if it's just a simple, we're going down basically it's a version of the Yellow Brick Road, but it's green. You know what I'm saying? That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
They're going to ease on down the road like the Wiz.
Yeah, exactly. So like maybe we're doing something like that, and maybe they go through a couple of trials or whatever they got to do to get their witch powers back. I guess that's what they're going to be trying to do in the show. So maybe it only would take 9 episodes and they don't have to speed it up that way. So let's see. But if they start throwing like episode 3, we start getting a new character.
We got 7 more episodes, so I think we have some room to do some stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's unfair kind of what I'm saying because I'm kind of prejudging based on a lot of the Disney stuff that we've been getting.
Yeah, they're gonna go hit
Yeah.
through some obstacles for sure.
I
Gotta
will
deal
say
with-
though, WandaVision is one of my favorite of the Disney stuff that we've gotten since they started making series, and this is done by the same person that did WandaVision.
Yeah, you can kind of get
So
that. I agree with that too. I really enjoyed that show. I thought the first couple of things they did wasn't bad. But it
yeah,
was kind of like after that, it was kind of like, oh
it did
crap.
kind of drop off. I was sort of going into this thinking it would be like one of those things that like it would be a fun series. It's not going to have that much impact on the MCU. And it'll just be a Halloween thing that you can watch and have fun with. Like maybe Werewolf at Night is not your thing at Halloween time. Maybe you want something a little more comedic than that. You can
Mhm.
watch Agatha all along. Just like at Christmas time, I sort of feel like that's what the Hawkeye series was. It was just a fun, 6 episodes at Christmas time about a Christmas story. It introduced Kate Bishop, and she's going to be really important to the MCU going forward. But it wasn't like earth shattering for the MCU as a whole. That's sort of how I felt about this, and I still sort of feel that way, especially now that I think that they've introduced Billy as teen. His superhero name is Wiccan, so
Yeah.
it makes sense that he'd want the witch powers.
Oh yeah, he's a witch. Like, and the other
Yeah.
child is like the super fast guy,
The
right?
speed,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
like Pietro is.
Mhm.
So, if he's not playing Billy, I'm gonna find it extraordinarily strange.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, but I think in some cases this is kind of the way to go. Is like sometimes like mix in your important stories.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll just put it this way. I don't think unless they're gonna actually 100% jump in feet first and spend the money, they don't need to make any of these shows, especially in the MCU, be important to the story. Because all the like one of my biggest problems with some of the things that they've done in the past here, like even more recently, like what was the Secret Wars or whatever, they were doing the Secret Invasion. Like the world's going to end. You're not picking up the phone, Thor. Where you at, bro? We need you. The world's it doesn't make any sense. You know,
Secret
like
Invasion was bad.
Yeah, but those kind of shows, if you're going to put that much like, so this is like a contained story about some witches, right? It doesn't have to be like world ending kind of story where you need other people. That's my problem with some of these other shows. Oh, everybody's about to die, but we're not going to call Spider-Man. We're not like that kind of stuff. Like, but now if they want to do important shows like that and they're willing, they don't have to throw the whole team. But like if they're willing to throw a Thor, the actual Chris Hemsworth Thor, or a Spider-Man, or something like that in there to help stop the world from ending, I'm cool with it. But it just doesn't make sense. Like, bro, you got them on speed dial. Like, yo, bro, get your butt over here. We all about to die. Like, and when you don't do that, it makes it so dumb that it's not. It just makes no sense. Like with Star Wars, they brought out new characters like the Mandalorian. And overall, the first 2 seasons of that show I thought was really good. And they're bringing characters together to build up to, say, a movie. So I think it makes sense to do that, but they're throwing the big characters in there. You had Thrawn and Ahsoka. You got Ahsoka, which is a big character. You even brought Luke Skywalker in, who might be involved in this movie or whatever they're going to do coming up next year. So like they're throwing the big daddies in there. You had freaking Vader in one of their shows. But then, like in the MCU, whenever you don't throw any of the big daddies in there, it's like, bro, it don't make no sense, man. It's just kind of dumb. So
they have their Marvel Spotlight banner now, which is for stories that they want to tell, but that aren't super important to the MCU, like Echo, which was I thought a good series, but not super important to the MCU and the overarching story they want to tell in the MCU going forward. I was a little surprised after they announced that Marvel Spotlight banner that they didn't say Agatha was going to be Marvel Spotlight series, because I thought, what could this series possibly have that much impact on the MCU? And now I think it's the fact that they're introducing Billy and maybe other characters that are going to be involved in the Young Avengers. So it's like important to watch, but it's not like super important to everything.
Yeah, I think the bringing the Young Avengers along, possibly even doing a show before you start trying to put like say serious movies and stuff out there with the characters would be better, because it would be kind of a test run. Because I do think the problem with the MCU right now is you've gotten rid of or killed some of the more popular characters, right? And now who do you have even for the Avengers? Some people's
Yeah.
going to be like, man, this doesn't seem like the Avengers. And they're not going
Yeah.
to be as up about it. So they do have an issue there. So bringing along these young Avengers through, like, say, a show or whatever, going ahead and casting them to who you would want to be in the movie, but putting them in some kind of shows, bringing them along, you know, letting them get involved a little bit in the story. And like I said, do like a test run. How interesting does people find this certain character and stuff like that, so that you don't make some box office bombs. I mean, the problem is like these Marvel movies will make a little bit of money most of the time, but you can't make a little bit of money with the how much money they spend. You got to make a lot of money to even break even. So like that's been some of the issues that they've been running into, like even with some of their shows and stuff like that. So yeah,
and they're starting to bring the Young Avengers along. We got that post-credit scene on the Marvels where we had Ms. Marvel recruiting Kate Bishop. So they've got some sort of plan for them. I do hope it is a series at first. Like, get these characters together and see if it works for 6 episodes or however many episodes they want to give it, and then bring them to the movies. They haven't announced a Young Avengers movie yet, so I'm hopeful that it's going to be a series first.
Mm-hmm.
Also want to say about the actor playing Teen, when you put him in a room with powerhouse actors like Catherine Hahn and Patti LuPone at his age, he's obviously going to stand out as being the one who's not as
the
good as
weakest link.
that's what I was kind of bringing up. That's what I brought up earlier. Like he's going against heavyweights. Like all the women actresses in the show are like pretty big, like and done things before, played in bunches, you know, movies, shows, whatever. They're like experienced. So like maybe that's some of the things that I was noticing. But like I said, he's not doing bad. And if you look at it in that way, like he's probably doing really good, right? Especially if he is like a young guy and he's not just somebody that looks young, that's actually like 25 years old. And he just happens to look
how old he is.
Like, because if he's actually, go ahead.
He's 20.
Yeah, so that's still young. Like that's right out of high school. Like, you know, you've been out of high school for like a year or so at that point. So yeah, he's still pretty young. He's still learning the craft.
It looks like he has 2 TV show credits. I don't know if he has any other credits. One is this show, and the other he's been on the Netflix series Heartstopper, which I want to watch, but I haven't watched yet. But yeah, like he's used to playing a teenager at this point. So
no, you can do that at 20. Sometimes I don't like it whenever they're 27 and they're playing like an 18-year-old.
Yeah, that's
like,
weird.
It's like really weird, man. It's like, come on, bro. Like, let's give these child, because I actually been pleasantly surprised in a couple of things I've watched here more recently with like child actors in it and how good they can be. Like sometimes we overlook that and everything else, and it just makes a movie super great if they like knock it out of the park. I mean, sometimes like Phantom Menace, you can have your little kid actor not be the greatest in the world and everything else, but then you also can knock a home run. Like I thought the movie It a few years back with like all the kids, like then you had It too where they were grown-ups, but the kid version of the first movie that came out was like super good because all the actors and actresses that were the kids that were playing the kids knocked it out of the park. They were super good.
Yeah. All right. Well, any final thoughts, Brandi?
I can't wait to see the next episodes to see where they go and what's happening, and I need more Aubrey Plaza.
Yes, I have seen her on the Witches Road in the trailers, so she will be back.
I've not watched the trailer, so I don't know. I'm going into this completely blind, so I don't know anything.
She will be back, and I think she will be back maybe in the next episode. Justin, any final thoughts?
Listen, I'm not gonna lie. When I see Aubrey Plaza, the first thing I think of is the girl who's been playing Wednesday on Netflix.
Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez's daughter, if I'm not mistaken, the director's daughter.
She's Robert Rodriguez's daughter.
Who she is? The daughter.
The girl who plays Wednesday on Netflix is Jenna Ortega.
Yeah, but she is the daughter of a famous person.
All right, I'm gonna look that up.
Let's get this because I don't want to look stupid. Like I might have got it wrong, but it is a famous person.
Her father is Edward Ortega.
Well,
he is a businessman.
Okay, well maybe I'm wrong completely, but I could have swore I heard someone say that she was so and so's like kin to somebody. But anyway,
Her
whatever.
mother is a actor, writer, comedian, and musician.
Okay, well, but I guess you didn't say her name, so I guess she's not super.
Natalie Ortega.
Okay, well,
don't
when I
know
see
where you
Aubrey
got that from.
Plaza, we'll skip that part because I thought I heard that before, but I messed that up. But anyway, so Jenna Ortega, when I see her, Aubrey Plaza, I swear, like Aubrey Plaza's like could be her mom. My whole point of that was like saying that they look so much alike that to me, they're like she's similarities, man. When she's dressing like she does in this show, and then you see Homegirl playing Wednesday, to me, they're just so much similar. Sometimes even in character, the way they act a little bit because they've got these like quirky style like things that they do and everything. So to me, they just remind me of each other so much. But with that being said, I mean, the good thing for me is like I told you, I'm going to watch the next episode at least. I'm going down the road further, which is a big thing for me to say.
Yeah,
because
he's eating down that road too.
Yeah, I'm going to go down the road
Sorry.
with him. I'm going to go down the other. I'm going to go down the green brick road with him over here.
It's the green leaf road.
Yeah.
Multi-leaf
just a
road.
little bit farther.
I do hope you keep watching because I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks soon, and somebody's going to have to host the show.
Hey, so at
I
least
need
like
you.
Yeah,
I gotta watch it, but I'm not gonna do it by myself.
I would have just stayed in the background and had Brandi over here just being by her. She would have did it. I'd have sent her messages in the chat. I would have came on here and asked her questions like, "So how's the show going, Brandi?" And then she could answer them and stuff like that. But like but no, like it is interesting enough for me to keep going. Like just being pure out 100% honest. I'm not gonna pre-hate stuff like some people will and everything else just because of whatever. Like this is like I said, I admitted like this isn't something I was super excited for. But now that I've watched 2 episodes with you guys, because I said I would, yeah, I'm going to go down that leafy road a little bit further. And unlike, say, The Acolyte, which I'm going to watch every episode because I'm such a huge Star Wars fan, I got to know what happens so that if I have to know pieces of information later on, I know it. So I have to. I have to hold my eyes open like, get through it. I got to watch it. I got to see what's going on just because.
Yeah, this was definitely better than The Acolyte was.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
100% better. This is one of those shows, though, because I think I told you on one of our last reviews for something that was MCU, maybe it was a movie or even another show, is that it does seem like Disney is trying to fix some things and do some things and rearrange some things here. It kind of got off the rails for a little bit. And
this one just seems lighter and more like.
Well, I do think course correction, and this show is right on the edge of them deciding to do the course correct. So I didn't know what to expect for this show, and it does look like it looks a little better than some of the other shows so far that we've gotten put out. So now let's see what goes on from here. Because I was really going to start judging. I wasn't going to be judging this show, like because of the fact it was sort of made on that line, that on the edge. Like it was one of the last things they were making as they were trying to do that thing and started talking about changing some things. Everything after this, I'm going to be looking at real hard and even maybe with more excitement because it's one of those things where, look, we were great. We fell down some. We realized we might have made mistakes. Maybe we got a little lazy, right? So now it's time for us to pick it back up. Everything made after this show might be super damn great. We don't know. So let's find out.
Yeah,
I like the flow of it and the comedy, and that's what's bringing me in. That's what's keeping me in. Like, okay, they're funny.
Yeah.
They have their moments.
I need somebody to die though. It's Halloween, baby. It's about to be October, man. Somebody's got to die after October. I mean, I'm sorry.
No,
we just had Friday the 13th. You know what I'm saying? It's got to happen. Somebody's biting the dust.
Let Adelia talk. Just be quiet.
I'm just going to say thank you, everyone, for joining us. We will be back next week with our review of episode 3 of Agatha All Along. And until next time, we are out of here.
Like and subscribe.